Then to cooperate with security agencies and electoral officials to ensure a free, fair, and credible election. He warned that any act capable of causing unrest or crisis would not serve the interests of the communities.
And we've been talking to voters in Ahoda and Kana, I think, constituency too, concerning the coming election, on the need for them to come out and vote persons of their choice, as well as to do that peacefully, because it's important that we vote and vote peacefully. We no longer want the situation where election in River State will be tagged rivers of blood. No, this time around we want peace, and that is why we are leveraging on the various programs we have to mainstream on the need for voters to vote peacefully and go home safely.
On the matter of governance and accountability, the leadership of civil liberty organizations in Rivers State says calls for accountability from the state government will not create political tension. The chairman of the group in the state, Sanidada, made this known in an interview while reacting to concerns that fresh demands to probe the Rivers State government from 2015 to 2026 could disrupt the current political peace in the state. Dada dismissed the claims, insisting that the organization's position is that the state financial records should be made open for public scrutiny in the interest of transparency and good governance.
We want peace in Rivers State, but that does not mean that peace should come at the kind of expense that we're looking at. Sacrificing accountability to the development and well-being of Rivers State. Asking for accountability has nothing to do with the peace. As a matter of fact, if there is no accountability, there can be conflict too, because the lack of accountability leads to unequal distribution of wealth, leads to denial of development.
Dada added that the failure of both past and present administrations to properly account for how public funds are spent has led to distrust, and a growing lack of confidence in leadership among the people.
So the lack of accountability in itself is a conflict driver. So when we say the governor should be accountable, or the lawmaker should be accountable, or the FCC minister should be probed, we are not necessarily trying to heat up the politics. We should not begin to sweep everything under the carpet in the name of peace. Are we saying that one or two individuals should mismanage the resources of Rivers State? This has been our calling from the beginning, and we didn't start today.
In legal developments, constitutional lawyer Professor Richard Nwokocha says an individual cannot be held liable for a cybercrime offense merely for accessing or being in possession of information obtained by wiretapping. Professor Nwokocha, in an interview with correspondent Emeka Otuka, explained that a person can only be found guilty of a cybercrime if he or she directly engages in the act. He said this while reacting to the prosecution of former Kaduna State Governor Nasri El-Rufai over comments that he intercepted the phone communications of the National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu during a live television program. According to Nwokocha, the federal government must establish that El-Rufai took technical steps to access the information before he can be convicted of a cybercrime offense.
Unless he says, I tapped the wire and I discovered this or I found this. If he says he accessed information that was obtained through wiretapping, that doesn't make him a criminal for accessing information. It doesn't make him one who has broken the law. The state will have to establish that he, by himself, tapped or engaged in the act that the state is saying is unlawful. It's not enough that it was private. Just like you and I have had what he said was transacted and questioning the legality of that. We do not become guilty for having received the information.
As you may know, the DSS has filed a three-count criminal charge at the Federal High Court in Abuja against the former Kaduna State Governor for alleged unlawful interception of telephone communications of the National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu. El-Rufai, if convicted, faces 2 years in jail. In the same vein, the Lagos-based political analyst Liberos Oshoma has described Nasri El-Rufai's arrest by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission as mere political drama that will serve no meaningful purpose. Oshoma made this known in an interview with correspondent Suebi Oruwari, while speaking on what he described as the continued use of state power by the federal government of Nigeria to suppress opposition voices.
in Nigeria, the state uses its own weapon to fight against passive enemies, so rightly or wrongly. That's not to say that El-Rufai is right, but I think also El-Rufai is also looking, he understands the game. He himself, once being a state actor, he understands that the best way to get attention from the people is also to draw out the states. And so the state responded appropriately. They are doing their thing.
Let's go on a quick break. When we return, Arewa community leader urged Northerners in Rivers State to stay law-abiding after clashes. We'll be back. Stay tuned. Concerns in Rivers State residents have expressed alarm over recent clashes between indigents and members of the northern community. Recall that the Rivers State Police Command over the weekend arrested a wheelbarrow pusher, Zakara Afaru, for allegedly killing a fellow trader, Higito Wenem, with a dagger at a popular Okey market in Obiakpo. Speaking in an interview with correspondent Namdunwala, residents wondered why some cattle rearers and strangers walked the streets carrying weapons. They urged government and relevant authorities to guarantee collective scrutiny, devoid of tribal or religious sentiments.
Such a thing is a threat to life, and it shows inequality in the whole Nigeria. It's very bad for someone to carry a weapon. Ordinary talk, you don't bring it out. And when you carry the matter to police, they have people there, both police and army. No one can ever side you. They will also silence the matter.
We are facing a crisis of injustice in Nigeria. It's not the same measure you use for some people, you use for others. A different law applied to a different set of people. Those guys can even go with AK-47 life. It's a coward system. When you see a piece of people, you show your muzzle. When you see where you should show that muzzle to, you cower away.
Everybody should be treated equally. That's what I feel. If you're caught with arms, you should go in for it. If there's all of us should carry arms, all of us should carry arms.
The country is favoring them, and to an extent, our government don't want to do anything about it.
It may also interest you to know that the operation of commercial motorcycles, popularly known as Okada in Igruta, was recently banned after one Samuel Inyechem was allegedly stabbed to death by suspected northern youths. In a related development, the leader of Arewa community in Rivers State, Musa Saidu, has advised northerners living in the state to remain law-abiding and live peacefully with their host communities. His calls follows last week's violent clashes involving members of the northern community, which reportedly led to the killing of the community secretary in Onwugbonu in Equator local government area and the death of a trader at Okey market in Rumokrushi, Obiakpo. Speaking in an interview with our correspondent Emeka Otuka, Saidu urged residents to remain calm and maintain peaceful coexistence, warning that anyone found committing crimes would be arrested and prosecuted.
We are calling for calm. We have called our people that they should be law abiding and they should make sure that they are not creating problems. Because here, as it happened now, it's not only that those that commit something that they affect the whole Hausa community. A lot of Northerners are the victims. Some are dead as we are talking. Some have been displaced. Some property looted, destroyed. So what we are saying is anybody that creates crisis, cause problem, you will go for it. Laws are there to deal with him.
Saidu also condemned the recent killing, stressing that no individual has a right to take another person's life. He, however, criticized calls in some quarters for northerners to leave their communities.
I don't know why a little misunderstanding will lead to stabbing. Our people should be careful. Anybody who commits crime, catch him, deal with him according to the crime he committed, under the laws of the land. But you cannot, because of somebody has committed a crime, a single person, then you attack a whole community, protesting the Hausa must go. Hausa will not go as long as one Nigeria exists. If somebody commits a crime, there is police, there is security agencies to deal with that situation. That's their job.
Efforts to improve living conditions in the state continue as the Rivers State Waste Management Agency collaborates with Obiakpo local government area to enhance sanitation. Managing Director Dr. Ibimina Wokuma met with the Council Chairman Dr. Gift Walu to discuss sustainable waste management and involvement of academic institutions in environmental initiatives. Speaking during the meeting, Dr. Walu said environmental responsibility in governance is important and sustainable development can only be achieved through collaboration with relevant agencies and departments. He highlighted some of the Council's recent interventions, particularly the transformation of the oil mill axis, which he said has improved vehicle and pedestrian movement while significantly enhancing sanitation in the area. The chairman called for a strategic stakeholders meeting involving Riwama, the Ministry of Environment, and other key actors to develop a comprehensive roadmap for sustainable waste management in Nubiakpo. He also advocated for the inclusion of academic institutions in the initiative, citing Akwa Ibom State as an example of deliberate planning and collaboration resulting in the cleaner environment. And in community affairs, the people of Okrika Plantation community, also known as Omubarai BBC, have raised concerns over what they describe as attempt by some individuals in the Chilaka government area of Rivers State to create unnecessary tension between the Okrika settlement and neighboring communities. And a statement signed by the chairman of Wakrike and Ijo people living in the Eche and Amuma local government areas, Wilfred Beraduko, said the Wakrike National Congress, as the apex body of the Okrika nation, has nothing to do with boundary issues or politically motivated disputes. Beraduko stated that Okrika Plantation is located in the Eche local government area and has existed there long before the creation of Nigeria and the local government system. He noted that the community remains home to people with a distinct language and indoor culture. He added that Okrika people living in the Eche and Amuma local government areas will continue to maintain economic, cultural, and political ties with their neighbors, but will not tolerate any attack or insult on the apex body. The chairman advised anyone who disputes the location of Okrika Plantation in the Eche local government area to seek legal redress or consult historical records instead of making public claims. He also reaffirmed the community's respect for the Onyishi Eche, whom he described as a father figure and one of the founding leaders in Rivers State, commending his efforts in maintaining peace and urging other first-class traditional rulers in the state to emulate him.
And now, we bring you news from around the world.
And from the foreign scene, a second round of talks between Iran and the United States aimed at resolving the dispute over Tehran's nuclear program have ended in the Swiss city of Geneva. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said the two countries have reached an understanding on the main guiding principles, but work still needs to be done. The U.S. has not yet commented. The indirect discussion followed repeated military threats by Washington against Iran over the country's deadly crackdown on anti-government protests, as well as its nuclear activities.
This is the news on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
And that's our package on the news this evening. You heard that the Senate has passed the Electoral Act Amendment Bill. You also heard that the opposition members of the House of Representatives today staged a walkout over the approval of manual collation of results as backup. We also told you that the NOA has urged residents to maintain peace ahead of the Kana and Ahoda East by-elections. The Arewa community leader has urged Northerners in Rivers State to stay law-abiding after clashes. And on the foreign scene, nuclear talks between the U.S. and Iran has ended in Geneva. That was the news as edited by Martha Okey. The Region News team send an SMS or a WhatsApp message to 0808-721-7215. I am Okey Onwugbonu. Good evening and many thanks for listening.